Good afternoon, folks. Remaining very wintry out there this afternoon. The storm Eunice continues to bring a broad swathe of rain, sleet and heavy snow across many parts of the country, although the precipitation is more showery across southern areas and a wintry mix of rain, sleet and snow. And we've got some drier conditions in the far northwest and more especially the Northern Isles. Now, we've still got that yellow Met Office warning for many central, southern and eastern parts of the country, although it has been updated by the Met Office to exclude parts of the central lowlands. That's right through until 1800 hours for that snowfall. And also we've got still a yellow warning for stronger winds in the southwest, particularly the far southwest. Rings of Galloway, we could see gusts up to 60, 70 miles per hour for a time. And it's a cold afternoon for all, with highs of just 1 to 5 degrees Celsius. Then a cold night as that snow clears, wintry showers feeding in from the north and west, and a significant risk of ice tonight out there, and a Met Office warning enforced for that too. That's you up to, and that's through there with lows of 0 to -4 degrees Celsius. Then so on Saturday, a cold and icy start for some, but equally a bright one, and we see some early sunshine. However, we do have some wintry showers in the west, and they may become more frequent for a time, and then spreading inland to give perhaps a transient spell of sleet and snow. Cold for all tomorrow though, 2 to 5 degrees the highs. Then unsettled into Sunday, heavy rain and strong winds to start the day will clear through. Then it's blustery wintry showers following and perhaps stormy later in the far west.
Get the latest news on your smart speaker whenever you want. Just say, play BBC News for Scotland.
You're listening to Lunchtime Live with Hayley Miller and Andrew Black. Now, Storm Eunice has brought heavy snowfall to parts of Scotland, and with it, travel disruption and school closures. Let's get a picture now of how things are across the country. We can hear from our reporter Ben Phillip, who's in the northeast, first of all. Ben, what has been the impact of the weather with you?
Well, the snow started falling in areas of the northeast shortly before 8 o'clock this morning, and there's been a remarkable amount of snowfall that is still coming down. One weather watcher in the village of Braemar in Aberdeenshire says they recorded 12 centimetres of snowfall in just a couple of hours. I'm just on the outskirts of Aberdeen right now, and it's snowing very heavily, which has been the case for several hours now, and it's causing quite a bit of disruption on the roads. The A944 beside us, just outside West Hill, was at a standstill for some time earlier due to a jackknifed lorry. Significant queues of traffic are continuing to back up in other areas, with some roads in perhaps more rural areas impassable, according to Police Scotland. And the AWPR, the Aberdeen Bypass, is experiencing quite a lot of trouble as well. We're being told that 5 spreaders are out on the road, with additional tractors being deployed to assist to try and get the road clear and moving again. And importantly, Police Scotland are advising that road users now only travel if absolutely necessary. It's not just been the roads that have been disrupted. More than 70 schools across Aberdeenshire and Moray have also been closed today because of the weather, and the Huntly vaccination centre has also been closed as well. Now, this weather warning is in place until 6 o'clock this evening, so the snow is expected to perhaps loosen off then. But then there's an ice warning in place until tomorrow morning, so there could well be some disruption later on too.
Ben, thanks very much for that. Ben Phillip there in the northeast. Let's check out what's happening in the Highlands with our reporter Ian McInnes, who is just south of Inverness, I think, Ian.
That's right, yeah, I'm on the A9 just south of Inverness at Daviot, and we were woken in Inverness to no snow this morning. Then it became a dusting, and as the morning's gone on, it has got progressively worse. Through the morning we had some really heavy snow showers. It is starting to ease off a little now. I would say it's becoming a bit more sleety, but as you'd expect, when there is any sort of heavy snow, higher parts of the A9 quite badly affected. At Daviot, where I am just now, we were just in some very slow moving traffic. There was lorries struggling to get up the hill at Daviot going northbound, and looking at the cameras, places like Dramochter Pass, heading southbound, pretty challenging, and also King UC, Tomatin, Slough, these sorts of places that are usually affected by snow are also affected by snow today. We're also seeing a lot of ploughs, tractors out trying to keep the road clear, and things do appear to be moving. In terms of schools here, we heard from Ben there are a number of schools closed in Aberdeenshire, but in the Highlands it's really only a handful of primary schools that have shut, and we've also heard just in the last couple of hours that Granton Grammar Secondary School will be closing early to pupils, but on the whole not a huge amount of disruption in terms of schools. Now, we do not actually have a snow warning in place for the North Islands at all, but we do have an ice warning which comes into place at 6 o'clock tonight. And there's also a warning from mountain experts about conditions in the hills over the weekend. In terms of the specialist mountain forecasts are predicting sustained high winds, even hurricane force winds on high terrain. And these experts just stressing the importance of being fully equipped for full winter conditions and to check ahead with weather and avalanche forecasts. And also, obviously, the advice is if you do have to go out to take care, but if you don't, maybe stick the kettle on, keep the radio on, and try and keep warm. And just one note of interest for your colleague Andrew there, I can confirm I've just seen the Ross County team bus heading south, so they will make the game tomorrow. He'll be happy to hear that.
He's a relieved man, believe me.
I don't know if they could be Hibs, though, that's the problem.
Well, at least it sounds like they'll get there, if nothing else. Ian, thanks very much indeed for that update. Ian McInnes there, just outside Inverness, and it does sound as if the likelihood of ice then overnight could well make driving conditions tricky into the morning, but good advice remains: stay at home, put the kettle on, listen to Lunchtime Live and the rest of Radio Scotland throughout the day, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, let's get a bit more on the weather now, because Storm Eunice, of course, continues to batter Scotland. Some parts of the country have flood alerts in place, as well as the yellow weather warning. Let's speak to David Fickey, who's Flood Duty Manager at the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, SEPA. Good afternoon, David.
Hello.
What's the latest update then?
Well, Storm Eunice is passing through as we thought, and the high tides are starting to show in the southwest of Scotland and into the Solway, so we're seeing some quite high tides, and with the high winds we're also going to get some wave overtopping and some spray in some of the areas that we've got warnings out for.
Where are you expecting to be the worst hit then?
Well, we've got flood alerts out from Argyll and Bute, right down through the Firth of Clyde, through South Ayrshire and down through into the Solway. But the key areas are from about Troon south, down through Loch Ryan and round the Mull of Galloway, Portpatrick area, and then we have about another 7 local flood warnings out in the Solway itself. So those are the areas that we're expecting the highest levels and some of the wave and spray overtopping.
And when do you think those flood alerts are likely to be eased off?
Well, they'll be coming off once the high tide's gone past. So we're seeing high tide now in some areas, and by 2 o'clock this afternoon we think we'll have passed the worst of that, and the flood warnings and flood alerts will start to come off. And if there's anything happening over the weekend or in the next tidal cycles, we'll be putting them back on again with the new information in them.
And there is another storm forecast in just a few days, as if we haven't had enough storms this week already. Is that another concern on the horizon?
Yeah, we're looking into Sunday now, and there's a bit of a storm surge beginning to show in some of the coastal flood models for Sunday for different parts of Scotland, maybe for the Western Isles and for Orkney, and we're keeping an eye on that just now. But with the nature of the weather and the changeability of it at the moment, the way the flood models work is that they can change the outlook from one flood model run to the next. So we'll be doing what we normally do, which is monitor this 24/7, keep an eye on things and update all our warnings appropriately. But it'll be Sunday, we're looking at that for storm surge, and also there's some quite heavy rain coming through on Sunday in the south of Scotland that we're keeping an eye on at the moment too.
And what is the advice for people if they are actually caught in a flood, either at home or perhaps more concerningly if they're out in their car?
Well, the key thing is it's very dangerous travelling when there's flooding on, whether you're out walking or cycling or if you're in a vehicle. As we know, we've seen vehicles trapped in the past, and we've sadly seen vehicles being washed away as well. And so it's the most dangerous time is when you're travelling, so it's better to stay safe and stay home, similar to the message you were giving earlier there about putting on the kettle and just waiting for the worst of things to go past. So I think people that have to travel, please stay away from those most exposed coastal areas today, and into Sunday as well if you're in that kind of Western Isles and Orkney area. And then never drive into floodwater, because you don't know how deep it is and you don't know what's lying beneath it either. So just really always caution and best avoided, I think, for any floodwater.
Okay, well, many thanks for that advice, David. David Fickey, their Flood Duty Manager at the Scottish Environment Protection Agency. And, there's a bit of a comeback going on in the curling as well. That's good. 4-3